Good evening, friends. Welcome back to Dozen Cats. Look who's here. Yay. It's Madison. How
Hi.
way? She's right there. So, Madison is my beautiful niece, and I am overjoyed that you are here. Uncle Mark is saying hi to Lippy Lou in the chat. Awesome way to go.
Hi, Uncle Mark.
So, we're here to talk tonight about our intuition. And when I say our intuition, I literally mean mine and Madison's intuition and some incredible synchronicities that I find really interesting that have sort of developed between the two of us, which I think is kind of cool and kind of interesting. Don't you think so?
I think so, yeah, for sure. We both have some little things that we share in common, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, everybody, this is Madison. As I said, this is my niece. And what I do, and I didn't tell her this, every time that there is a new guest here at Dozen Cats, we ask them 5 sort of questions. You could call it like icebreaker type questions that sort of allow people to get to know you in a way that they wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to get to know you. So I promise I'll be gentle because I'm your aunt, so it's my job to protect you. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. 3 things that you have to have with you at all times.
Ooh, water. One, definitely for sure, water. Have my water with me right now. What else? Recently, I guess crystals. Like I'm always wearing a crystal bracelet, one that you would have gotten me. I guess my phone. That sounds kind of bad, but
No. I mean, hey, it's communication and you're being connected. So I love that. Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe my watch, like just to know what time it is.
Yeah. You're such a nanny's girl. You really are. We'll get to that in a moment. All right. Second question. Favorite song that makes you just want to like sing out loud and dance around the living room and, get crazy?
Ooh, anything Taylor Swift recently, her songs. One of them is called Bejeweled, which makes me think of crystals and stuff. And
I love it.
Love it. Dance party for sure.
Love that. Okay. Third question. Here comes Quincy. Say hi, Maddie girl.
Hi, Quincy.
What you don't know, because you can still see me, is that he's literally covering her up on the screen.
Yeah, I believe it. Oh, there's his tail.
He's coming back. All right. So third question. Mm-hmm. Best advice that you have received thus far in your young life?
Ooh.
Or something that you sort of think of when you're sad or when you're in a challenging sort of spot.
I think something mom has always said to me is baby steps, one day at a time, which I think is really important. I live by that. And just kind of, I think this goes back to our connection and what you've kind of gotten me into more so recently is just trusting that everything will kind of work out the way it's supposed to, whether or not we can understand that or not at the time.
Love it. Yeah. Nanny used to say that all the time, that everything happens for a reason. You may not understand the reason, but it will be revealed.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So our fourth question is, what does Madison's day off look like? What's your favorite thing to do on your day off?
Definitely spend it in nature. Like I love a nice sunny day. Recently it's been really rainy and today was beautiful sun out. And unfortunately,
wasn't it beautiful to see the sun? I was like, oh my God, yay.
So nice. It was very nice. I mean, it was raining here like pretty much every day. And it just kind of starts to get to you after a while, right? So it was a beautiful sunny day today. And I couldn't get outside because I was working. But in an ideal day, I would have went for a walk and maybe, had a little picnic in the park and just kind of read a book and that kind of stuff. Just be outside and connected.
It's like the two of us are like the same.
No, funny. I feel like people maybe have said that before.
Right? So the last question is, who's your favorite aunt? No,
Oh,
it's not.
hard.
That's not actually the question. Sorry. Where is your happy place, Maddie?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, definitely outside. I think
Yeah.
probably more specifically by the water, though. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Me
by
too.
the water somewhere, lake, ocean, whatever it is.
I love it. So thank you. See, that was harmless, right?
Yeah, harmless.
Yeah, there you go. So let's say hi to a few people that have popped in. Eliza Bassett is here, and we thank her for being here. She
Yeah.
says, my brother and I are now exchanging info about his intuition and what I can help with his knowing more. I love that.
Lovely. Yeah.
Sin is in the house. We thank Sin for being here. Blue is here. Of course, Uncle Mark is here. Sharon Sipe is here.
All the way from Aussie. Wow.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for being here. I know that there's other shows going on, so hopefully people will watch this back on replay. This is my niece Madison, and we are here talking tonight about our intuition. And so I want to start with, and I don't want to embarrass you, but I think we need to go to the beginning. Yes?
Yeah, probably.
So when Madison was a little girl, and I'm talking like a baby, I would babysit, and she would get me in an awful lot of trouble. I have to be honest, because what would happen is we would put her to sleep, and then without fail, just before her parents would come home, she would like start to cry like she was being hurt, like it was one of those kinds of cries. And I never really paid much attention to it other than like the girls got it out for me trying to get me in trouble. Do you know what I mean? But later, much later, I started to think to myself that I wonder if you were seeing things in your dreams or things happening in your room that were actually scaring you awake. Mm-hmm. Because, and obviously you probably don't remember this because you were literally less than a year old. You would have things going off in your room, right? You would have like toys going off and, making sounds and stuff like that. That happened a lot, from what I remember, Mommy saying to me. Mm-hmm. And then when you were about like 2-3 years old, you went through a whole phase of seeing people, right? Do you
tell me? Yes.
No, but do you remember any of those moments?
No, not really. I don't remember them. I just remember hearing about them,
right,
more recently, but also more specifically the one with seeing, I think it was Billy, your cousin.
Yes.
And the basement in Nanny's house is, I think, where it happened. And so I do have memories of like being in the basement. That basement has a lot of like memories associated with it. I don't know why.
Right. Well, I mean, because that specific incident of seeing Billy, just so people understand, my sister and I have a cousin who is on the other side. And when you were just a little girl, Mommy had his picture on the refrigerator, right? And you kept pointing at the picture saying it was Daddy. And Mommy was like, isn't that funny that she would point at our cousin, his name is Billy, and would say that it was your daddy, because of course you'd never met Billy, right? Mm-hmm. And then, Mommy would try to explain to you that that's not who that was, that it was, but how do you explain that to like a 2 or 3 year old? And then you started to claim that you were seeing him. I remember. Do you remember your little house, your little hut that you had in the hallway that we got for you? It was like a little kitchen kind of thing. And do you remember being in there one time with me? Mm-hmm, and you said that they were someone was in there with you because you were freaking out. You were like, come, oh my God, what? And I'm like, what is happening in the house? And you thought, so you kept saying like they come in here and they want to play with me. And I'm like, no, I don't want to play with you. So
Yeah.
I think that that's really super interesting. And then the basement incident, I was there for one of those. I know that it happened on more than one occasion, but I was there for one of those. And myself, my sister, my mother, we were all there. You were running around just doing your thing. You were like 2 or 3 years old, and you were playing. And what you were doing was you loved mail. Do you remember that? You loved mail, like
Yes,
anything that
and phone
resembled a
calls.
letter. And so, you know, when you guys, when you get like a magazine and they have those little like, you know, tearaway cards that you can mail off to get like a subscription or whatever, Nanny was ripping the pages out of the magazine and giving them to you, and you were running around sticking them wherever you could stick them and pretending that they were mail going into a mail slot. And all of a sudden you just started to yell like, no, I don't want to play with you. Why do you keep playing? Like, get away from me, kind of idea. And it was like, what's happening? And it startled all of us because it was so out of the blue. And I think it's interesting that you don't remember sort of that.
I don't remember those exact. I remember the tent in the house and playing in it and being with you in it. And I remember being in the basement and doing funny things in the basement, like playing with all the trinkets. But I don't remember like the moments that you're speaking about. No.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that, and hopefully later on in life, those recollections do come to you. I think it's interesting, and to the positive side, obviously, that you're not afraid of it, right? You know, like it wasn't a negative experience, right? Because you hear a lot of people talk about having visions or sightings or seeings or visitations or whatever you want to call it, and being frightened by it. So I'm glad that that was not your experience.
Yeah.
Do you recollect any other time that you've seen stuff?
No, I don't think so. Like maybe more of a feeling than seeing.
Yeah. You
Then
definitely
speak to that. Yeah.
You definitely have a knowing, like for sure. I mean, I feel like you have a knowing. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I feel like you have a knowing. I've always felt that though. And I've always felt like I have a knowing, although I didn't know like what to call it or where to sort of, you know, what category to put that in. But I've always felt that I had a knowing. And it's interesting because speaking of the knowing, when you were a little girl, you were probably about 4 years old. Maybe 4. And my grandmother, Nana, to you, had hurt her finger in the car door. And months later, months later, we went to Nana's house, and you turned around and you asked Nana how her finger was. And we all just looked at you like, pardon? Like, what's wrong with Nana's finger? Like, now, of course, you could have just remembered. Yeah. But none of the adults remembered. And I always felt like you had this like wiser than your years kind of vibration about you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah. I mean, I've been told, I feel like that by a lot of people, that I'm always been like wiser, older, mature for my age.
Yeah.
I can identify with that even with like where I am in my life. I'm in university, and sometimes I'm just like, these are not my goals. These are not my, you know, I don't feel like this is where I'm at in my life. I feel like that would have been years ago, and now I'm over it. Like, you know, some of the parties and whatever, like things like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's just more of a, I definitely have wiser intentions, I think.
We used to, I remember that I specifically used to say that you were very nurturing, that you were very like maternal. Your go-to was always to, care for that person and sort of wrap your arms around them and embrace them. And your mother is that way. And so I thought, well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And so you're very much like your mom. And I'm not saying that your mom isn't like that, because we both know that she is.
Yes, yeah.
But I feel now that is your empathic side coming out, which is very similar to sort of like what I think my intuition category falls into, is that empathic intuitive, right?
Yeah.
That you have that sense of knowing, but you feel it. For example, you said you're in university, not to give away all of your personal details, but you share a home with other girls that go to school with you. And would you say, or like even when you were in dance, that if someone didn't feel good, someone that you're close to didn't feel good, whether it be they felt like sick, not well, or there was tension going on, that you could pick up on that? Like you could walk in a room and be like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's actually something like that can be a little bit difficult at times, because like, then you take on other people's emotions. And I think more so with my intuition now, I think a part of, I've been ignoring my own emotions and only really focusing on other people's, I think, because that is so strong. So yeah, definitely walk into a room, simple verbal, nonverbal expressions, facial expressions, body language, I'll pick up on it like instantly.
Now that's really interesting that you say that. So just a moment, everybody. Hi Kiba, hi Cardamancy, hi Jan. Thank you everyone for being here. Jan says, Blue says, my little sister had similar dreams that would scare her too. I used to go to her to send them away just in the moment so she could cope. Yeah. That's what being a big sister is all about. What I thought was interesting is this. I gathered some notes, right? And I thought that this was interesting in terms of what we were just talking about. Now let me try to find it.
For sure.
Because the note's like this big on the bottom. And I'm old as dirt, and I got to find it. You know how it goes. I know I did it. Oh, so 7 tips on how to develop your intuition, and help you to make what they call more soul-inspired decisions. I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
Great way to put it. To dedicate time to listen to your intuition each day.
That's awesome.
And you touched on that when you said like learning to trust it.
Yeah.
The biggest gift that was an unexpected gift that I have received since starting the channel and on this spiritual path that I sort of feel like I fell into by accident, which we now know there are no accidents, but to me, it felt like a pleasant accident, if you will. Was the ability to trust myself and just to let go of it. Yeah. And not have any preconceived, sort of determining factors as to, how far I was going to let myself walk out on that plank. Right.
Yeah.
And it's been a really interesting little bonus. I don't know what else to call it, but like I used to trust myself an awful lot. And then I didn't, when my anxiety and all that was taking over. I thought my gut instinct was broken, and then all of a sudden I just sort of find myself in this position, and it's like, I fought it for the longest time. Well, this is crazy. I don't know how this is happening. That's so funny. You said it and I pulled the card. Isn't that funny? But all of a sudden, I just sort of came to the realization one day that I've got to own it. And I just sort of put it out in the universe and went like, whatever's going to happen is what's going to happen. And it was the best thing in the best moment. And I feel completely different, completely connected, and completely, I am still amazed every single time I pick up the cards or every time I turn on this camera. Like, I'm still amazed every single time. And I love the excitement of being
Yeah.
able to investigate my intuition further.
Yeah.
I mean, all
Yeah,
right.
I think you're speaking a lot about self-doubt there, which I think we both talked about as something that we tend to do.
Yeah. Well, your gut instinct, your intuition, whatever, sort of label you want to put on it,
Mhm.
it takes a lot of faith
It
to
does.
believe, A, that you have it,
Mhm.
to ignore, your environment, what other people are saying around you, what your head may be telling you in some cases, or
Yeah.
what your heart may be telling you, because we could be having a three-way conversation happening, right, between our head,
Yeah.
our heart, and our gut. And to just trust when we have those random thoughts that pop into our head. Like the other day, I was doing my reading. All right, now brace yourself. You're going to look this up. I know you are, because, it's Kelly's old as dirt. And I'm sitting here and I'm getting ready for my reading in the morning. It's literally 3:30 in the morning, right? Because, Aunt Kelly gets up super early with the birds. And I'm getting my cards all out and I'm shuffling them. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready, thinking about what I want to, like, sometimes I have a particular sort of topic or that I'll choose,
Mhm.
like message from the universe, for example.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to figure out, like, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And all of a sudden the song, the lyrics, like the chorus, I guess you will call it, of a song popped into my head. And it is a song from 1971. I know. Singer's name, Charlie Pride. Kiss an Angel, Good Morning. Popped into my head. Like
Wow.
singing the song. Kiss an Angel, Good Morning. And I was like, that's weird.
Weird.
I was like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So when I went and did my recording, I said that this is what happened. And then I looked at the words after the lyrics and I thought, ooh, it's a bit salty. I mean, I sort of remembered the song, but I wanted to double check. And I was like, ooh, it's a bit salty,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, I'm sure there isn't a message more than that. And then I was doing a show and I was talking away and I said something about the inner child. I said, I'll show you my inner child. Because, I have my picture here with Nanny. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, Kiss an Angel, Good Morning. Nanny used to sing, before I was born, used to sing, You Are My Special Angel to Me.
Oh. So it's
It's
just little
from
things
Nanny.
like that. Yeah.
That was it. That was all I needed to know. But I was like, it was so clear.
Yeah.
Like there was a green light that went on in my forehead that I seen. It was so clear. Like there was no questions asked. So cool. Anyway.
I love those clear moments where you kind of just like look up and you're like, oh, okay, message received. Like I had one of those the other day.
Yeah.
I had gotten into my bed ready to go. It was late. I just got home late and I was like, just feeling kind of down. And I was just, I'm going to go in my bed and I'm just going to scroll on my phone or I'm going to watch TV and I'm down in the dumps. And then I looked over, I laid on my bed in a particular way, which is like, I wouldn't have laid that way. Like I didn't put my head on the pillow, put it on halfway through the bed. And as I laid down, I just could see the ground just this much. And there was a dime on the ground. And I was like, I just got home. Like, where did that come from? And it was like, I was like, okay, message received. Thank you. Like, don't scroll on your phone and feel down in the dumps. Just take it as it is and move on with the day.
And that's important. That's an important little tidbit that you just said. And I'm sure that I've told you that before. Whenever, you get a message or whenever you feel like you're being given a message, to always say thank you.
Oh,
I feel like it's acknowledging receipt of, like, I'm saying thank you, so you know that I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes we don't know what the message is.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to get caught up in that.
No, I just take it as almost kind of like a feeling of I'm here with you and you are protected. And that's all I need to know in that moment, that it's okay.
Isn't she brilliant, friends?
No, not brilliant.
My little niece that's bigger than me. Okay. So what are some things that we share in common? in terms of like intuitive kind of stuff, do you think?
I think definitely the 1111. Like we talk about it all the time. It's almost funny. Like every time I want to text you, and then I'm like, oh, I just said that to you the other
Yeah.
day. Like, do I really need to text it to you again? But it's I find it'll come up in moments when you really need it, and then
Yes.
it's like it seems so special and significant to want to share it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so the
I
11.
love that you see it the way that I see it, because when I see it, or when I used to start, when I first started seeing it, I mean, Nanny thought I was crazy. Straight up. She was like, right. Do you know that story? Let me
Yeah, I
tell it,
think
because I love that story. It's like, because you know Nanny, you can appreciate why this is funny.
yeah.
You know, my mom, your nanny, was, you know, she was business. And I mean, she's a Scorpio, right? And she's like about getting things done, not mincing a whole lot of words. And I had been seeing 1111 for quite a time, and maybe a couple years at this point. I was at her house. We were going for a walk, and down where my mom lived, in the strangest thing, they all sit in their garage. Like people sit on a back porch or whatever. They all sit in their garage. I don't understand it, but whatever. You know, I'm not here to question why they do it. I'm just saying it was odd. So we go for a walk, and on our way coming back, her neighbors are out in the garage, the ladies, and they're having a few brewskis, and Nanny enjoyed her brewski. And so, anyways, you know, come and join us. So we went and sit down. And, you know, we're talking away and we're doing our thing. And the one of the ladies, who's like the newest person on the street, says that she gets woken up at a certain time, and apparently her brother had passed at that time. And all of a sudden, Nanny became a believer, like instantaneously. I think there was some liquid encouragement helping
Yeah.
her, but she became an instant believer. And she was like, "Oh, honey, tell him your story." And I was like, so I started to say, you know, just before Nana passed, I started to see 1111, and I don't understand it. And then I looked it up on the internet, and the thing that I found said that your window of opportunity is open. And I'm like, great. I still don't understand why I'm seeing it. Like I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll just go with it. I'll just go with it. And I was convinced that Nana died at 11 minutes after 1. Like I was convinced. I know it was just after 1, and I was convinced that had to be the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's when Nanny was like, "Oh," and literally the chat just jumped to 11. It's not a joke. I see it all the time. So
I see it all the time.
and then it just became a thing. You know what I mean? It just became a thing. And there is no greater confirmation for me than this. It's going to make me cry. Tears. It makes me tear up every time I say it. So I had a reading by someone not in this community that at the very end of the reading said, "I don't know why, but I'm supposed to like put my finger up really, really close to you and almost like, you know, like in your face and say to you that when you see 1111, it's me. Don't doubt it," meaning it's Nanny. And I'm like, okay. And then when we did Nanny service,
2 or 3 years ago.
I just was going to say last year and went, oh my God, no, it wasn't. It was 2 years ago.
It was like, I think it was 2 summers ago.
And I did the increments of time, and it was 111 months that we waited to have that service. And the cats are literally going boom, 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 like ping pong balls. and it was 11:11 at night when I was writing that little blurb out. There were, and so I guess what I'm trying to say is one of the you know, another unexpected gift of the intuition is you have that belief that that's who that message is from. As you said so beautifully put, that you get it and it's a confirmation that someone is with you and sort of watching over you and protecting you. And I don't, you know what, I don't care what else it means. I just, that is more than enough. And I walk away literally feeling like I'm getting a ginormous hug I don't know how else to put it. It makes me feel fantastic
Yeah,
in a way that I can't actually articulate.
I would agree with that.
Right.
Yeah, you can't really. It's like, I don't know. It's almost like a pep in your step. Like you kind of just like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, like
It's like, you know, a secret that someone else doesn't.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like you got like one of the
exactly.
lotto numbers or something,
Yeah,
right?
it does feel like that, but it's not like it's not too like high emotion. It's just like peace almost. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you definitely I feel like, you know, you breathe a sense of like
yeah,
it's
100%.
like
Yeah.
when you've done a, you know, when you get ready and you're going to go somewhere, you know, to school or to go out or whatever, and
Mhm.
you kind of look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
okay. It's kind of like
Yeah,
that. You know what I
it
mean?
is
It's
kinda
like,
like that. Yeah, it's like,
good
okay.
job or well done or something of that nature. I love that.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. So as Madison was saying, she sends me a text and she'll be like, "It's Kelly, it's 11:11 or
Mhm.
whatever." Um, or like, you know, games or whatever. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah,
And like we'll send it to each other. And that's, I don't even remember like when that started, but
I don't
it
know.
just became like a thing that we were both seeing 11:11 all the time.
Oh,
And I have to tell you, initially I was like, thank God someone else has seen it. It's not just me.
yeah,
Um, and then it became more like, there's something to this, like, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Like I started thinking about the things that had happened to you in your younger years, and I'm like, there's something to this for you,
yeah.
right? There's
Yeah,
definitely something
I
there.
think it corresponds to different points in my life where I've had like, you just have different things you're thinking
Yeah,
about or
yeah,
stresses, and then it kind of comes up. And even, I've just finishing school, and it's a stressful time, and I was seeing it a lot. And that was the first time I was seeing it very consistently in a long time. And so I was like, oh, okay, like here, this is something new. And it was kind of a big, I guess you change in my life at the time. So I was like,
yeah,
okay, it makes sense why it's coming in. And now that was a few weeks ago, and now I haven't really seen it quite as much. And I've been seeing different numbers like 444
right.
and 777 and 888. So I've been seeing those ones more
Wow.
consistently.
Well, 888 is all about success.
Yeah. So sometimes it'll shift, and I'll try to keep in mind what the different numbers mean, like based on what's going on and what I'm thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah,
444 is about being protected, right?
four and 7 and 8 have been the ones I've been seeing a lot recently.
Interesting. I've
Mhm.
been I don't know, remember, it was a couple of days ago, either last week or the day before that. For like 2 days straight, it was like every time I looked at the clock, it was like 333, 222, 444. And I'm like, okay, this is
Yeah.
crazy. Like it's just,
Yeah.
it's nuts at this point. But it's funny because I had taken the week off unexpectedly. Like it's not like I took the week off because I was on vacation. I just didn't
Yeah.
schedule anything.
Yeah.
Like not even really intentionally. And then for like 2 or 3 days while I was off, it was like get back out there. And I'm like, I didn't I would I okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I
You know
know
what I mean? It's
it's
funny.
it's always when you sorry, my voice is it's always when you like have not been on your phone or something all day, and then you just happen to check the clock, and it's like, how
Yeah.
come I just checked it right at that time? Like
Yeah.
it's always little moments like that where it's like it's too much to be a coincidence, you know?
Well, there
Like
are no coincidences. That's what I
exactly.
believe. Now, what's interesting, and this is the telling part, when you see those times on the clock now, not
Mhm.
in the beginning, but now,
Yeah.
you don't question it at all. You're just like, thank you, and
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like sometimes I'll look it up if I'm curious, like what would that mean? Maybe I'm
no,
having the
but that's
thought
what I'm
at the
saying. Like
time.
you immediately go to that was some sort of a message for
Oh
me,
yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
immediately go there.
100%.
You're not like, well, that's crazy. Why do I keep seeing it? That's so weird. You know, because I
No,
used to do that, right? I used to be
yeah,
like,
I just
this is
accept it.
crazy.
Yeah,
But
just
that
like
that means that you're learning to trust it, which is good.
that's true, yeah. Yeah, I didn't even look at it like that, but yeah, that's true for sure.
Now, here's the next thing that we can talk about, which is sort of the same thing.
Mhm.
When you find dimes, because you find a lot of dimes,
Lot, yes.
when you find dimes on the ground,
Mhm.
And I think it's so cool. I mean, you know, you're my niece and I love you dearly, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's become like a little thing that we do, and I
Mhm.
cherish it. I mean, it's like the stupidest thing, but it's important to both of us in a way
Yeah.
that other people might not think that it's important. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Or may think it's insignificant, I guess is a better
Yeah.
way to say it.
I've had to try to explain it to my friends and my boyfriend so that they're like, why are you freaking out about finding a time?
Because I'm hard up for change. I'm in university. That's what's
Yeah,
going on. I'm saving my coins.
exactly.
But like we've sort of developed this little thing. It's no biggie, right? So she'll find a dime, she'll text it to me, like a picture
Yeah.
of it, and I say,
What's the date? What's the year?
right, and then you know we do the numerology and we figure out what the message behind the number is, so that we can sort of try to decipher why you're receiving that
Yeah.
specific dime at that
Mhm.
at that specific moment, which I think is just, you know, it's just a little fun thing that we've done.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how it came to be, but I'm like, I want to know too.
Yeah, I know. And the one that we found the day after you came up, which was for the first time in a while, we were
Yes.
doing our Easter hunt, which mom still does for us, even though I'm 22 and Kenzie's like 17. She still did it for us. And we were coming down the stairs with our basket and we're taking our annual Easter picture. And we had, mini eggs all down the staircase and a little bunny at the bottom of the staircase. Kind of like you might have remembered from my old room. I had like stuffies all over the
Yes.
shelves. And it was like an older bunny like that. And one
Right.
of them maybe that I would have associated with like somebody, like a grandmother gave it to me or somebody like, anyways, below, right in between its legs was a little shiny dime. And I was like, oh, mom, you put that there. Because it was just too like, I just didn't think that it would have just been there. And she was like,
Right.
what are you talking about? And I was like, there's a dime right here. Like, and I was like, Dad, did you put that there? Wait, like, who put that there? And then we texted you right away because I thought it was just like so crazy. And then we counted up the numbers on it and it was 6, and which happened to be related to family and connectedness. And
Yeah.
we had just all spent the day together and it was such a nice day. And it was like, just, yeah, it was like, wow. It was definitely a strong message from Nanny for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just literally thought of something when we're talking. If you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, go for it.
I remember something that you told me while mommy was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
About something that you had sort of sensed when you were at home. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Is it
So
the
yeah,
smell? Yeah.
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 So share that with people.
Yeah, okay. So mom had, a little bit of an emergency health concern and she was in the hospital, which is very unexpected, and she's super healthy and everything. So we were
Yeah.
like, what's going on? And she's like what do you call it? I don't know. She runs everything, right?
Yeah.
Mom's the captain, I guess, and you could
Yes,
say.
she's definitely the captain of the ship.
Yeah. So without her, it was like dynamics were totally thrown off. And I think it was late at night, and I was upstairs in my room, and I just no, actually, I went down to the
You were
basement.
in the basement. Yep.
Yeah, I was in the basement. I walked down to the basement, and I just got like a whiff of a smell, and it was like I said to my dad, he doesn't really believe this, but I
Yeah,
said
no.
to my dad, I was like, that smell, I wouldn't have even known what the smell was if somebody had like, you know what I mean? Like somebody was like,
Yes.
hey, this is what the smell is. Like it was just the smell of it instantly, like a memory. Like I was like, that smells like Danny's house. Like it was
Yeah.
so weird. And then he was like, what are you talking about? Whatever. And I was just like, okay, like weird. Like I really smell it. And it was only in like a specific area. And I was like, this is strange. But I kind of just went on with it. And then again the next day, then I was upstairs in the hallway with Kenzie. And the same thing, the same smell. And like I said, it wouldn't be a smell that you would like. It's like I didn't even know it existed in my head until I smelled it. Like,
Right.
But yeah, anyways, it was in the hallway and it was, again, only in one specific area. Like it wasn't like I walked down the hallway, couldn't smell it. Walked in the other area, couldn't smell it. Then right there in the middle, you could smell it. Very strange. Yeah, like that was something I hadn't
And what did
before.
I say? And not because I said it, but what did I say that I thought it was?
You thought it was Danny, yeah, for sure. Sending a message,
Letting you know
her
that
presence was with
she
us.
was
Yeah.
looking after mommy, and like you guys are,
Yeah.
because you and Nanny, for those of you that don't know, you were 10 years old. You had just literally would have been turning.
Yeah.
Well, you just turned 10 years old when
10,
Nanny
yeah.
passed, and like by days.
Mhm.
And I mean, she was Nanny's everything. I mean, honestly, it was annoying sometimes. I'm kidding. And Nanny was very concerned about, Madison being able to navigate that whole thing. We were all concerned, obviously, as anyone would be for a young child to be able to navigate that. But on the second anniversary of my mom's passing, my sister and I went to a psychic. And Madison was not, when I say she wasn't invited, I don't mean it like that, but I mean, it was supposed to be my sister and I that were going, and we thought we were being really tricky, right? We were going to go separately. Remember, I was out in the car and it was like, okay, who's going to go first? And Deanna said, my sister said, Madison wants to come with us. And I'm like, whatever. So it was decided in the car that you and Mommy would go in first.
Yeah.
And it came out in the reading that you were being bullied at school. And that was a message from Nanny to your mother.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the look on my sister's face, not so much yours, but the look on, I mean, Deanna was like stunned. You know what I mean? Like, because of what she just heard. And then, of course, because of the way that she got the message.
Yeah.
So I guess where I was trying to go with that is like the tie or the connection between you and Nanny has always been so incredibly strong.
Yeah.
I feel that my connection with my grandmother was that strong. But I mean, I lost my Nana when I was like 42 years old. So you had just turned 10.
Yeah.
Like you really didn't have a lot of time, but your bond and your connection was incredibly strong. And so when you show me these things or you share these things with me, I'm not at all surprised.
Yeah.
Because I think of that specific moment and I'm like, yeah, like Nanny's always going to watch over you.
For sure. And that reading too, I remember what came out was that I think I was asking for ways to connect with her and I just really wanted to just feel her presence. And days before I had gone to bed, and I don't know if I looked it up or if I just did it instinctually. I don't know. I just put my hand out. We used to sleep together when she stayed over, and we would sometimes hold hands until we fell asleep. And I put my hand out and I remember that I felt her, and I really did. And then when we were in that reading, the lady said, well, why don't you put your hand out? And I was like, oh, there was no way that you just said the exact same thing that I had just experienced. And so, yeah, it was a very good reading.
I love it. All of these things that we're talking about, because a lot of people, I think either misunderstand, if you're here on a channel in the spiritual community, like it's a gift. I'm not saying it's not a gift. I consider it a gift. But it is a gift that we all have. Some of us obviously have it more than others, but it can be developed. It can be sort of, I want to say massaged and worked on. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can work with it. And I think that if you, as we've said earlier, if you allow yourself to be open to it, I mean, I consider if I get a dime, if I see the time or something of that nature, you smell a song, whatever.
The lights.
I mean, you know what? If my mama wants to tell me, you know what, hey, honey, I'm thinking of you, it's the greatest thing in the world because I can't pick up the phone and call her or go visit. You know what I mean? So that's the greatest gift in the world to me. So, I mean, keep it coming. Don't do anything now because I'm live on the air and I don't want to freak out in front of people. But you know what I mean?
Don't flicker the lights right this second.
She's done it. She's done it before.
Oh, I get it all the time. Yeah. I've had full conversations through lights.
Oh, I know. Isn't that crazy? So,
Yeah.
so I think, I guess what I'm trying to say is for anyone out there who's like, okay, yeah, well, it's okay for you. We all have it. We
Mhm.
have to
Yeah,
learn to develop it, and we have to learn to trust it. And I think that that's the key. Like for me
for sure.
personally, that's the key. If you learn to trust it, then you're not resisting it and you're not questioning it. And
Mhm.
then those things will come more clearly to you in a way that is, it's so filled with joy and
Mhm.
happiness. It's not anything. I mean, even I'll be honest, I get more stuff like visions, if like in dreams, right?
Mhm.
And I will literally ask for it. So before I go to sleep, I'll say, can you come to me and help me, figure this out, or can you clarify that, or I haven't heard from you in a while. Can you, say hi? And I add in there, and don't scare the shit out of me, please, because I've had a few of those where I've woken up going like, what? Um, I've had a vision on the toilet, which is just, bizarre. No, I mean, seriously, I just woke up. I had to go, potty as old ladies do. And it was like 3 a.m. and I'm like on the toilet and I'm like, okay, what? I had to like, I had to wake up to try to remember what I was seeing. Do you know what I mean? And then I had to
Yeah.
like try to navigate whether that was a vision or it wasn't. And I got all caught up in it because I was in that sort of not really awake, half sleep
Yeah.
kind of mode. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, if you could not do that again, that would be great.
Yeah. Maybe when I'm
um,
awake.
yeah, but yeah, learning to trust it
Learn to trust it for sure.
is I think it is a level of understanding, and it's also quite it I think it's me embracing it.
Mhm.
Right? Like I'm not resisting it. I'm just totally open to it.
Yeah.
Um, and if anyone is listening about, how do they develop it more, that's how you can do it.
Yeah.
I
I
have
think
some other
that
tips. I
I
have some
think
other
I was
tips.
gonna say trusting it and also being just more aware of it, like slowing down throughout the day and just kinda like being open and being present in
Yes,
your surroundings and not so like tunnel vision sometimes we can.
absolutely, honey. There are
Yeah.
5 pillars to intuition: trust, connection, acceptance, integrity, and innocence. Which I
Mm.
really like that they said innocence, because it is the wonder of it, right?
Yeah.
It's the not trying to, well, there's no way that that person could have known that. Who cares?
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
don't
for
know why.
me, it's about the message, that what that message gives me. That's the gift. So I'm not going to try to like ungift it away or take the specialness of that gift away, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, this is so cool. I love the way that they put this. These pillars are all interlinked and, much like branches of a tree, come together as a whole to create the magic of intuition. Isn't that really, really
That's
lovely?
beautiful. Yeah.
So, trust, connection, acceptance, integrity, and innocence. Those are the 5 pillars of intuition. I love that. 7 tips on how to develop your intuition um, into a, like, moving it up the scale, I want to say, right?
Mhm.
To make it more soul inspired, and so when you're navigating your life, you feel like you can count on it, right?
Yeah.
um, Recognize when it speaks to you.
Mhm.
Recognize when your intuition is actually going, hello, hello, like Adele song, hello, can you hear me, right?
Yeah.
um, you can deepen your
Awareness.
intuition through meditation. And a lot of people get, confused about meditation. You don't have to clear your mind. You don't have to shut that down and sit there in a particular position and, sing a chant. You
Exactly.
can stare at a burning candle for a minute,
Yeah.
right?
You can
It's
eat
about,
mindfully.
yeah, exactly. It's about getting quiet.
I'm just listening.
And doing that sort of being, if you will, that allows you to get in that quiet sort of meditative state, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And this one is interesting. This was a new one. I'd never heard of this before. Dedicate time to listen to your intuition each day.
Yeah.
So a little exercise for anyone that journals. So if you had, particular points during the day where you've seen synchronicities with numbers, or you smelt something, or you thought that you had a vision, or you just all of a sudden reacted a certain way when you walked into a room with certain people, write those things down in your journal and allow yourself to sort of feel how you think about them as you're writing.
I just did that the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, for the first time, I just wrote it down because it was the dime. I wrote about how I felt. And then it was also, I have an affirmation app on my phone, and it just pops up with little affirmations. And sometimes the affirmation is almost like it's so accurate to what I'm thinking or feeling in that moment. And I might not even have admitted to myself that I felt that way. And then the app says it, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was feeling. But I didn't even get there yet.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Write down your answers is literally the next thing that it says. So ask questions and write down your answers. If you're unsure as to what it means, if you're still in that mindset, because, we're human beings and we all want to know why.
Why?
So write down those questions and write down your answers. And what you're doing in that moment is working that intuitive muscle, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think you got that message today?
Yeah.
Right. And take immediate action. Don't discount it.
Yes.
Which I thought was an interesting one. Now, this is the next little bit over here. How do you develop intuitive perception? So the not second guessing it, the not trying to explain it away is what I think that means. Like, that's what that means to me.
Me too.
And the not sort of allowing other things to cloud the importance of whatever that message was. So there are 6 ways to start with honing your intuition, they call it. So the first one is believe in yourself.
Believe.
Nanny's favorite word. Connect with others for new experiences. I don't know, such as coming on YouTube and talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Exploring your creativity. Now, everyone that follows me knows that I say this probably more times than not say it. Expressing yourself in a creative way. Think of it like, have you guys ever heard of an occupational therapist? So an occupational therapist is someone that you might see if you were, say, like maybe you're sitting at a desk doing a computer job or something of that nature, and you start to develop, sore neck or sore shoulder or sore elbows because of the position that you find yourself sitting in day after day after day. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see that person, and that person is going to work with you to try to figure out how you can do something different in that same position so that your body is feeling different, right? That's an occupational therapist. They also have recreational therapists, and those recreational therapists now, I mean, that was back in like the 90s. Now they have all kinds of different names and call themselves all kinds of different things for different reasons. But the idea is that if we call it work, then it's work. But if we call it playtime, it's like, oh, I could do the exact same thing that I'm doing at work, but now it's playtime, and suddenly I feel totally different about it. Right? So it is taking a situation and trying to look at it from a different perspective so that you can gain a better understanding instead of looking at it in the, through that lens, that same lens, right? So explore your creativity, crocheting, knitting, drawing,
Painting.
automatic writing, collecting stamps. Like, I don't care what it is. When you allow yourself to express yourself through a creative channel, oftentimes you're releasing things, you're clearing your mind, you're moving your thoughts around, you feel inspired, you feel motivated, you feel energetic. Your joy factor is up, your vibration is lifted. It can do wonders for you, and you can release so much negativity that it almost feels like you just sat and did a whole meditation.
Yeah, you get in that flow where
Yeah.
it's like the challenge meets your level of, I don't know, ability.
Yes. See, she's here to be smart. She's the smart one. Slow down and switch off.
Mhm.
Because that sort of goes without saying, but it doesn't, because we're all going 9,000 miles an hour, with our hands in 15 cookie jars at once.
Yeah.
You have to slow down to see or be open to what that means. And a great way to do that I have found is to grab an oracle card. You grab an oracle card and you look at the picture and you look at it, and what does it tell you? Don't look at the word, just look at the picture. What does it tell you? Right? You don't have to use an oracle card. Look at a magazine. Flip through a magazine, right? And go back over family photos and look at them, and just look at a scene, right? Create a scene in your journal where you write it down, get very detailed, right? Christmas morning, or Bob's birthday, or the picnic last summer at the lake, whatever it was, and write it down and get immersed in those details and allow yourself to really enjoy as you navigate, and you'll be surprised what you then remember.
Yeah.
Right. And it's all joy filled. You'll be really, really surprised in that exercise. And the next thing is, obviously, you can pick up a book or join some sort of a workshop. There's lots of classes and courses and books that you can buy to help you sort of understand, navigate, and sort of increase that muscle.
Yeah. And the internet, it's got lots of stuff out there, but you got to be careful what you choose to see.
No, it's the truth, though. It's the truth. 3 characteristics of intuitive thinking. And this is interesting because I got this off the internet. So intuitive thinking has contrasting qualities. It is unfocused. It's nonlinear, right? It contains no time frames.
Mm-hmm.
It sees many things at once, views the big picture, and contains a different perspective other than what you have. Because that's really what it's trying to show you, I think, in most times. It's trying to bring some sort of clarity to something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or zone in on something. It's heart-centered. When you receive it, it's usually about some sort of space or time or person, or like, community, company kind of thing, right? And it tends to lend itself to the real and the concrete. And I think what that means, like how I take that, is if I allow it to show me something that I need to see, I'm going to recognize it immediately.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You don't need to like ask for something specific or question it, really.
Yeah. What skills does an intuitive person need? What do you think is something that an intuitive person needs to sort of be able to handle the power of having an intuition and using it in a good way?
I think definitely time to like self-care, and then like wind down and just like have that time at the end of the day, or any time in the day, really, to slow down, like we talked about, and be present, be connected. Yeah, it's really important.
Absolutely.
I think for me specifically too, with the feeling intuition that I get. Yeah.
You gotta, putting up your boundaries is really important, and you do that through self-care. So you can take that energy that you've just brought into yourself and remove it or soothe it by doing the self-care, and then you protect yourself by putting a boundary around, so when you go back out there, you're sort of like resilient and like ready to, you know, you put your cape on and you're ready to fly out. So skills, they say, slow down enough to hear your inner voice, practicing mindfulness, as you said, nurturing their creativity. They say that a great way to open up your intuition is to use your non-dominant hand. So if you normally write with your right hand, try writing with your left hand, and try channeling. So, you know, close yourself down, open yourself up to spirit, and say like whatever you want to show me. And that's called automatic writing. You just put your pen to paper and just see whatever comes out, and whatever you're getting supposedly will come out on the sheet of paper. It's very cool.
I'm gonna try that.
Right. So the ability to analyze your dreams. That's where a person that is also intuitive comes in handy, because it's difficult when you're in a situation to be able to sort of see the forest for the trees sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way we are as human beings. So we need that unbiased sort of person to be like, no, it means that. And you're like, right, exactly.
Different perspectives.
Yep. I call it my bewitched moment. My perspective is my bewitched, right? Up above it, I just sort of hover around like Bewitched.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bewitched, do you remember when I came to your house and we watched Bewitched? Your dad was on a business trip, and you and your sister like laughed at us. All you guys were worried about was like, look at the phone and look at the dishwasher and look at the this and look at the that, and we're like, Mommy and I were like living our best lives. We were like 4 years old again. It was like the greatest night ever. It was like, this is so exciting. And you guys were like, this is weird.
I watched the whole thing though, I think after I joked about it.
She looks a lot. Don't you think that Bewitched looked a lot like Nanny? But like when if you've seen pictures of Nanny when
absolutely, yeah.
I used to think Bewitched was my mom when I was a little girl, because it came out in 1961. So I used to watch it when I was at Nana's house, when Nana would babysit me during the daytime, and for the longest time I was like, that's my mommy. So
they did look a lot alike. Yeah
the whole blonde flip thing.
Blonde flip hair, yeah, exactly.
So this has been super interesting, and I would love to know if you have anything that you would like to say, or any words of wisdom that you would like to impart on our friends as we sort of get ready to say goodnight, in terms of, you know, an experience that you've had, or just working with your intuition, or where you hope to take it, or anything that you feel like saying, or whatever. Have a nice day.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I mentioned earlier, I don't think I really was accepting intuition before, and now as I'm kind of moving, you know, through this more spiritual path, I've definitely come to try to accept it more. And like we talked about, being more aware, being more slowing down, not questioning, you know, what the message is, just accepting it. I feel like maybe the biggest change in the way I kind of interpret things now is maybe not to like come up with different explanations, kind of like you mentioned, not to be like, oh, well, I just happened to do that, or I that's, you know, I'm just thinking that's what I want to see, so then I saw it, you know, just kind of, believing yourself, I guess, would be, and it's easier said than done, of course, but I think moments like that make it easier to believe yourself when they're just too, they're too coincidental, like, or and they're not coincidences, but that's maybe what we would refer to them as. Like in the real world, you might be like, oh, it's a coincidence, but it's not. It's probably something you're meant to hear, and you just have to be open to that.
I think that we have a tendency to overanalyze and second guess things, and I think that this is a like this topic, this idea of intuition and being able to trust it is a great place to start and a great sort of thing to keep in mind, because it can help you with so many things, just in terms of having more clarity, having more of an understanding, having a more controlled emotional reaction to things. I mean, hello, right?
Just having more peace throughout the day, like, and
it just brings
as
like
you
a
go
level
through
of
things.
like, okay,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's very much like when you have made the decision to sort of put things out to the universe and ask the universe to, you know, like whatever's going to happen. It's like that kind of idea, but there's something that has to happen within you first in order for you to sort of like agree to that, right? And sometimes it's daily. Sometimes like you can do it like, you know, a week at a time, a month at a time. Sometimes you can go for 6 months and not question yourself. And then I think that the more that you do it, the more you trust it, the more that it happens. And now it's just like, it's not like my intuition is over here walking beside me and I'm kind of like, hey, how are you feeling? Like, it's not like that. Now it just, when it kicks in, I don't make excuses for it. I don't try to second guess it. I don't try to even necessarily figure it out. It's like, now when it kicks in, that's when it's over here. And I'm like, what do you think? Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just go with it. I take it under advisement. It's like having my own advisor right beside me, right? Or that little voice on my shoulder, or whatever analogy you want to stick there. But that's literally how I navigate it. And I think it's the coolest thing that was very unexpected that I have received thus far in this journey is just that level of communication that I have with it.
Yeah,
right.
For sure. And I have to thank partly of that to you, because I feel like you've brought me to that place where I can and be more open and accepting to it, for sure.
Well, listen, if that's the greatest thing that I can do for you, you're welcome. I had nothing to do with it. I think spirit had something to do with it. And I'm just going to pull, actually, I'm going to pull 2 cards. By the way, so for Madison's birthday, I got her a deck of Oracle cards, and nothing makes an auntie feel better than when she texted me and told me that she did some readings for her friends, pulled some cards, and that they all said that it was accurate.
That was surreal.
Yeah. And I mean, I was just, I felt I was like, I'm so proud of you.
That was really,
because it took great amounts of trust in yourself to go out and do that. Without, you know, knowing really what you were doing. You didn't question it. You felt safe. You felt comfortable. And that just means all kinds of good things in my understanding for you. That means that you are really like embracing yourself as a young lady, you know, in terms of where you are in your life, and you're about to like hit this like new sort of path. And also speaks to the people that you surround yourself with, because you felt like they were like-minded and that you could trust them, you know, that you were in a safe space. And I just loved all that said. I was just like, wow, look at Maddie go.
That was a really cool moment, because I had never done that really before. Like, I've had feelings and seen messages, but to actually pull cards and for people to be like, that was really accurate. I was like, oh my goodness, really? I did that? Confidence. Yeah, that was a moment where I was like,
and this is interesting.
I had that.
Because I've got mystery.
And confidence. Wow.
And I've also got space. So the space to allow yourself to investigate the mystery. And even though you don't fully understand it, it's still making you very happy and actually increasing your confidence.
Yeah, that's
100%.
That's I couldn't have summarized it any better.
Yay. Okay, Maddie, want to pull a card for us?
Oh, okay, sure. I haven't pulled these out in a while. It's been a few
It's
weeks,
all good.
but we'll give it a try. No pressure.
Listen, you are in a safe space here. You're amongst friends.
Absolutely.
I say that to everybody. No, I'm kidding.
Mark says, pull one, pull one. Oh. Look at that. Trust.
Wow.
Trust.
That's
just
my
flew out of the
girl.
deck.
I had nothing to do with her birth. I'm just saying, but
Yeah, they were all, I'll just show you. They kind of like fell out of my hands and then they were all flipped upside down. And this one was the only one flipped upwards. I couldn't have picked it any better.
You are so connected.
So
it is
cute.
crazy.
I
actually have tingles in my head right here.
Aww.
Whether that means something other than what I think it means, I don't know, but that's crazy. All right, let's ask Nanny for a card. We're gonna pull a postcard from Spirit and then we'll end it on that. All right, thank you. All right, so the front side of the card is, oh, look at this. This is so cool. This is like, I don't know if you can see that or not. So it's like
a postcard.
There's like two people sort of embracing as they sort of dance around.
Yeah.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's me and you dancing.
Aww,
we're dancing. It's like, you know, ring around the rosy kind of dance like that.
Yeah. It made me think of when you said I like to mail things.
Yeah, right? I didn't even think of that. There you go. So this is how it starts. Dear you, it might be hard to believe you'll ever get to where you want to go. Feel the way you want to feel and find peace and security, but you can. There's lots to celebrate in this life, but first you need to let go of this attachment to achieving. Hello. Was this card meant for you or not? I don't know.
I think so.
Sorry. I lost my place because I got all like caught up in what I was saying there. There's lots to celebrate in this life, but first you need to let go of this attachment to achieving certain results. It is easy to get caught in the endless loop of wanting this or that so you can feel safe. The only way out is to surrender the attachment. Empty yourself so you can be filled with something new. The compulsion will be lifted and peace will come. Trust that something better waits, that something new will open up and you will see new opportunities and fulfillment. The truth is, whenever you get into the loop, what you are really looking for is spirit. That connection is where the power, the peace, and the purpose lies. Everything else follows after that. Give yourself a hug. We got you. Loving you so much.
That was so cute. I love that. That was really speaking to me there for sure.
That was Nanny.
I think one thing that it made me think of that I was going to mention earlier when you asked me if there was like one piece of advice, I'd definitely say no expectations would be the better word. Just to accept everything as it comes, which is what we've been talking about the whole time. But yeah. Another way to look.
And that's harder. That's hard to do for, I mean, it's hard to do for a variety of reasons. Mm-hmm. But I think that if you can trust yourself,
trust
that your guidance is going to be of your best interest, that's a great place to start.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. And by the way, Eliza said yay when you pulled that card.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, just getting started, just learning to tap into it and focus it in the right ways, for sure.
Well, for those of you that joined us tonight, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is my beautiful niece, Madison, and I hope that she will come back and visit us again.
Absolutely will.
She is on the journey of a lifetime. Now I'm gonna embarrass you a little bit. So she has just graduated university, and we couldn't be more proud of her. I mean, it seems like just yesterday you were like a wee baby girl, and asking me how you become a good big sister. So look at you now. I mean, but what an exciting moment for you. You have so many wonderful things ahead of you, and you have worked so hard. You have put everything into your journey thus far, and I'm so proud of you that you're sort of taking this time to just kind of like, let's just see how we feel.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't, to the trusting part, that's what you're doing. You're trusting
listening.
your gut, and I love that.
Yeah.
Just so
Starting to listen
incredibly proud
again.
of you.
Oh, thank you. I love you so much. And I'll definitely come back.
All right, excellent. So, friends, Wednesday I will be back 8 p.m. Eastern time, doing Achieving Wellness. We're going to be talking about comparing ourselves to others. On Friday, big special. It is a celebrating Mom's Day special, and we have the incredible Mel Dorr, the Aloha Shirt Psychic, joining us. I'm very excited he will be here. So I hope that you guys can tune in. Make sure that you got your bell notification checked off. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and until we see each other again, I wish you many blessings.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Don't leave, Maddie.
I won't.